Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Friday, March the 10th, 2023. Friday, March the 10th. Definitely was not a cliffhanger Friday. That's for sure. Okay. My goodness. Anyway, what we had is, kind of this ridiculous scene because we have Sally telling Nick that she and Chloe want to go and view some of Chancellor Winter's hotels in the various locations, states, so that way when they have their next meeting with Jill, they can have some actual real life, mock-ups of how they would upgrade what's now and what they would do, for the upgrades on the sites. And so Nick's like, that's a great idea. Listen, if you want, I'll have the Newman jet ready for you. And Sally's like, no, why would I need the Newman jet? Well, because you get to, and Adam's walking in, right? Well, you get to be able to travel in style, And so Sally's like, first of all, I am not a Newman employee. And I don't think Victoria would be too happy you using the company jet for me. He goes, well, I'm the COO. I could use the company jet for whatever I want. And so Sally's like, no. So then Adam walks up. Can I talk to you, Sally? And he's like, how are you feeling? I want to make sure. She goes, I'm feeling fine, Adam. I'm feeling fine. I mean, Nick and I are actually in the middle of something. He goes, well, I just want to talk to you about something again. So she goes, what is it? Well, Sally, I know about XY. He's leading into it, right? And he goes, I want to buy a house for you and the baby. And Nick kind of looks at him, right? And Sally's like, wait, what? He goes, I know you don't plan on staying in a hotel too much longer. Before you know it, the baby's going to be here and you need space. You don't need to be worrying about where you're going to live the closer you get to delivery. I want to get you a house. I know that's one of the things you said you never had growing up is like a house, a place you could just call home for the long term, and I want to make sure you have that with my child. And so Nick is kind of like, well, that one ups my jet ride, right? I should have offered her the house. That's what Nick is thinking. I should have offered the house. But see, Nick never would have offered a house. Nick would have said, I want you and the baby to move in with me and Christian. That's what Nick would have done. He would never have offered Sally something on her of her own for her own independence. Never. Right? So Sally says, wow, you would do that for me? And he goes, for you and the baby, yes. And so she goes, no, listen, I can't accept it. And he's like, but why not? So she goes, and Nick is like, you heard her. She says she can't accept it. And so Adam looks at Nick and Nick looks at Adam. She goes, you know what? You two. And they start to do their little bickering. They're back and forth, right? And so she goes, you know what, you two? I am capable of making decisions all on my own. I don't need you two to make them for me. And she looked at Nick. I don't need you to arrange in, making the decisions on how I travel. And Adam, I don't need you to make the decision on where I live. As a matter of fact, you know what? I have a meeting with Chloe. I'm out of here. So she leaves. And they both stand there like, huh. It's funny. Poor Adam was in the midst of two things. We had Chelsea having to put him in his place and Billy. They both got put in their place at her place. And now we got Sally putting him in his place, him and Nick in the hotel lobby. So they decide to sit down, and talk. And so Nick is like, you're trying to insinuate yourself in Sally's life. And Adam says, no, I am definitely going to be a constant in my child's life. And then Nick is like, yeah, like you wanted to go to the doctor. He goes, I absolutely do. And Nick, you gonna just have to get used to it, right? Because really, I'm not about to back down. If Sally says I could come to a doctor's appointment, I'm going. And as it should be, he is the baby's father. Matter of fact, if you got to choose between him hearing the first heartbeat or Nick hearing the first heartbeat, should be the baby's father. Especially if you guys don't have animosity towards each other, and they don't. Nick is the only one that got a problem with it. Sally really does not have a problem with Adam because Sally's still in love with Adam, right? So anyway, I fast forward. Oh, then Adam ends up telling him, Dad is going to be buying McCall Unlimited. Did he tell you? You know that? He goes, yes, I know. And he goes, and he wants me to run it as a separate entity. Because Adam was also trying to see was Victor lying to him, right? If Nick would have said, oh, is that what you think? Because that's not what he told me. See, that's what Adam was waiting to hear. And Nick says, yep, I heard that as well. So Adam's thinking, okay. And he goes, so how do you feel about that? And Nick looked at him and said, I think that's the best solution. You need to be completely separate from Newman Enterprises. He goes, I don't want it to be under Newman Enterprises because you need to have your own autonomy. That's just best for the whole family. And so Adam looked at him like, well, okay then, big brother. We on the same page with that. So Adam's feeling good, like, okay, then I guess what my father has said is true. Because Nick would not lie. Well, that's a lie. That's a lie, Nick will lie. But overall, Nick would not lie about something like that. Nick would tell Adam in a heartbeat, is that what he told you? He lied, because look, he told Victoria this. Chew on that. You know how Dad is. That's what Nick would have done. So kudos for that. So now we have Summer having lunch with Nikki, complaining about her father and Sally. And Sally's using him. And Nikki didn't know that, of course, Sally was pregnant. And she's like, wait, what? And then come to find out, and she goes, and it's Adam's baby. So Nikki was like, phew. But that even makes it worse. That is more chaos for Nick. Oh, Summer's like, right? And so they're talking and and I'm thinking, now we're trying to plan, how can we break them up? When Phyllis was doing that was wrong, right? That was wrong. Condemnable wrong. Summer and Nikki now are trying to put their heads together to see how they could break up Sally and Nick. And I thought, what hypocrites. Summer, worry about your own marriage. Your husband was lie to you in one breath as another. And now you're going to run home and you're going to tell Kyle, me and grandmother are scheming against Sally because I want her out of my father's life. You're going to go home and tell Kyle that? Oh, Summer. So in other words, you're just going to omit that covert operation to your husband, just like he omitted the covert operations with working with your grandfather to get Adam out of Jabot. Oh, but it's okay for you to do it, huh, Summer? Let's see if she tells Kyle. I already know she's not. How you gonna tell Kyle that? Because Kyle's gonna say, Summer, mind your own business. Isn't that what you tell me? Mind your own. So Sally walks in and she sees Nikki and Summer. They're about to get up, and Sally looks. You know what? You got to hand it to Sally. She will say, okay, there's the firing squad right there. Sally will walk right up to the firing squad and say, here I am. You don't have to aim too hard. Take your best shot. And so Summer's looking at her, and Nikki is like, well. Summer is filled me in on what's going on. And so Sally's like, I'm sure she did. And so Summer goes, oh, but don't worry. Grandmother will keep that on in that need to know family circle. Yeah, right. No, she ain't. And so Nikki says, so Summer, no, Sally says, and I bet you have a lot to say about it too. And so Nikki goes, I do have a lot to say about it, but I don't even know where to begin. So you know what? I'm just not. And so she goes, Summer, darling, let's do this again. And Nikki just walks away because she's like, I'm not even going to waste my time with this, right? So Summer sits back down and Sally goes to the little bar area. And so Summer goes, Sally, can I talk to you for a few minutes? And Sally goes, why? So you could finish telling me I'm not good enough for your father? So she goes, no, so I can apologize to you. Because see, Summer and Nikki came up with a plan that we're going to get Sally to admit she's still in love with Adam. Because they're like, she's just using Nick to keep away from Adam. Now, everybody, isn't this a flashback? What does this remind you of just this summer? Who was trying to get who to admit they were still in love with each other? Remember, Ashlyn and Victoria had broken up for a hot minute, right? Or actually, no, this was towards the end because this was last summer. So they were broken up. But remember, Sally and Adam had this concocted plan that they were going to push them back together again. They were going to get Ashlyn to admit he was still in love with Victoria, and they were going to get Victoria to admit, oh, see that the scheming. So now it's trying to be Summer, who's the amateur, is trying to work this con, right? Or pull this over. So they're sitting down. Summer's talking to her. Summer's saying all the right words, kind of like, no, I want what's best for my father. And you say you're over Adam. Good, I hope so. My father says he wants to be in this with the long haul. And if Sally, if you're the woman for him, then I'll have to accept it. Right? She says, but what I'm saying is, I've seen you and Adam together, and I know how Adam is when he wants something. I'm sure. How does Adam feel about you and my father, especially with you having this baby? And Sally goes, Adam is accepting it. Yes, he would like to be involved, more involved, but he's accepting Nick and I are together. Okay, so Summer says, but I know Adam, and I know he could be relentless when it's something he wants. And then Summer goes, and I just have to admit, Sally, from seeing you and Adam together, you guys seem to be very, very happy. And I know that, you didn't want the breakup. So if something she was saying, I believe that love like yours, or whatever she said, it's destined. And what Summer said, her little spiel, Sally's looking at her. Summer's kind of looking down as she's saying, because when two people are destined, and she kind of would glance up at Sally, to be together and this, that, and the other, and she's looking like, you see that she's looking down but looking up. And that looking down but looking up is kind of like, are you buying it? Because I'm trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Are you believe in this? Is this making sense to you? And I'm like, girl, hold your head up. You don't even talk like that. You don't talk to not one person with your head down and you kind of look up like, are you buying it? Sally's just looking at her like, chick, I wrote the game. I wrote the book. Remember, it's me and Tara that ran circles around you, Summer. Got you right out of the country. And baby girl, you don't think I don't know what you're doing? Because you're looking too obvious. It was hilarious to me. I said, no, that's ridiculous, Summer. You need to get a pro. See, you need to stop being so hard, or you should have stopped being so hard on your mama, okay? Because Phyllis knows how to do the darn thing. Phyllis, well, Phyllis as of late, though, the Phyllis as of late, she's not doing too good a job, if you ask me, everybody. But this, what Summer did, was just too amateurish for me, and just way out of her league, and too much of a hypocrite, because you're blaming everybody else for being in everybody else's business, but you felt it's okay when your grandmother left to sit down and try to take matters into your own hands. So come what may, Summer, that's how I feel about it. I feel like come what may with that. And then we have Nikki had left, so she has Michael and Lauren over to the house, right? Michael and Lauren, and they're planning Genoa City's 200th birthday. So is that a bicentennial? 200th birthday. Or double bicentennial, whatever you call it. I think bicentennial is a year, right? So whatever the 200th is. And they're going to be planners, and Vicky's given their assignment, and they're happy with their assignment. And then Nikki has the nerve to flip the switch and say, now, on another topic, I want to know what's going on with the Ashland Lock purchase. How's that going? What's happening? And Michael's like, nothing. Not Ashland Lock, because I was talking about Ashland Lock, the McCall merger. What's going on? He goes, well, Nikki, like, this sure changed from catering an event to, he goes, McCall has not agreed to sell. So nothing has gone on. She goes, I want to be kept in the loop where this is concerned. And Lauren goes, I take it you don't want it to go through? And so she says, well, Victor wants it to go through for Victor's reasons, but no, I don't feel it'd be good for Victoria. So no, I really don't. And Michael says, well, I really can't get involved with that. I handle the logistics ends for Victor. And if Victor makes the deal happen, then I will be getting the paperwork ready for it. And Nikki goes, well, that's disappointing to hear. And Lauren looks at her. She goes, Nikki, you're putting my husband in a very uncomfortable position. And she goes, I'm aware of that. So they both kind of look at each other like, well, doggone. Victor Newman has rubbed off on her way too much. Because if she thinks I'm going to betray my boss, Victor's Michael's boss, to tell her something, she ain't paying my paycheck. Nor did she have the capital that Victor had. Nikki was ridiculous with that. And Lauren just looked at her because Michael ain't about to tell her nothing. That was stupid and uncharacteristic for them to even write that scene. Nikki knows to just let stuff play out. She knows that. You don't want it to happen so bad, Nikki, go to Devon and tell Devon it'd be best that he buys it. That's what you do. At least Devon would still look at you and say, why would I take your word for it, Nikki? You guys tried to steal my company right from under me, because he's still, no, all them Newmans. Nick is probably the only one that Devon could stomach, right? So that was just interesting and needless. Then we had Sharon talking to Billy. They really was a carry on of the same conversation, to be careful that you and Chelsea got connected out of an intense life or death situation. She says, when I had my nervous breakdown, Adam was there. He saved me. He brought me back from the brink. She says, and our lines were blurred. Our lines were blurred. And actually, that was caused one of Adam and Chelsea's separations because he was stuck to Sharon like glue. Adam actually had Sharon, because remember, he had bought this big house for Chelsea. He actually had Sharon in some little guest house that was on the back end of the property, right? Had her living there, sneaking out to make sure Sharon had food, taking care of Sharon right under Chelsea's nose. Okay. So she goes, yeah, it was very intense. And for me, it blurred the lines and it blurred them from Adam too. But ultimately, once I started getting better, see, I realized that wasn't going to work. Yeah. And once you broke up him and Chelsea, right? And she goes, I just don't want that to happen to you and Chelsea. And so now we have Chloe upstairs talking to Chelsea, pretty much telling her the same thing, that you and Billy are going around again. Remember, you guys were engaged before. And Chelsea's like, yeah, I know, but and she goes, and you guys got together because you both were coming out of traumatic circumstances back then, right? And Chelsea says, yeah, but I thought Adam was the love of my life, and ultimately I just could not, move forward with Billy. But things are different now. And so Chelsea says, I need you to just examine. Yeah, the exact circumstances might be different, Chelsea, but you and Billy are being drawn together over another traumatic circumstances. Please, as your friend, just take it slow and think about it. And so Chelsea says, no, you are my friend. And I will think about it, but I assure you, things between me and Billy are different this time. So Chelsea's like, okay, okay. So that was it for The Young and the Restless. That was it. Nothing to scream and shout about. And you know what, everybody? Next week ain't looking no different either. I don't think we're going to have anything good on The Young and the Restless for a hot minute. Okay. So now let's go to Comment Corner. Comment Corner. We have Libby. There were some really comical moments on Thursday's show. I loved when Tucker talked about how he bought the trucking company, and Diane's dream was hysterical. I know, but I fast forwarded it. I think all the actors were having a hard time not busting out laughing at the absurd dialogue, especially Ashley. She had to be choking on that champagne, saying those nice things about Diane. And not to get too lazy. Oh, don't get too lazy because I have 1,000 subscribers. A gentle reminder, subscribe. I know, goodness, I'm so bad with saying subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's free. You know what? I was always wondering, Libby, why do you say it's free? But I guess there are some channels that there's a subscription fee for. I don't understand that, but okay. And then Terry says, Billy got on my last nerve talking about Tucker not being any good. How many chances have you gotten, Billy? Left the bro in disgrace. The last time he was co-CEO because he couldn't get along with Kyle. Billy's screws ups go on forever. Summer is on to Phyllis's BS. Yes, Phyllis can't pull the wool over Summer's eyes. Because for one thing, that was ridiculously stupid. The way she transitioned into, oh, I got a gift for Harrison. I'll just have it. I'll drop it by. Oh, but I don't want to run into Jack and Diane. Oh, she knew they weren't there, right? So Summer goes, you can bring it by. They're not there. Oh, well, where are they? Where are they? Is it in the Bahamas or is it? Now you trying to lay down a list of places they could be to see. Why would you care? Only thing when Summer says, no, you can bring it by, Mom. They're not home. She should have said, great. I'll bring it by this afternoon. Would 2 o'clock be good for you, honey? That's all Phyllis had to say. But no, not Phyllis. That's because, for one, she didn't even get a gift for Harrison. Period. She knows that. And Summer goes, did you even really get a gift? Because somehow I doubted. Whoa, go ahead, Summer. Right? And then Annette says, Jack Spratt won't return to marry Ma on the little cabin in the woods. He will be held for ransom, or Diane will return to Jeremy. Well, next week we saw scenes for the young and the restless, and they do make it home from their cabin retreat, telling Summer and Kyle that I asked Diane to marry me, and I'm the luckiest man in the world because she said yes. Okay, Jack. All right, good. A bigger wedding to bust up. Great. So that's it, everybody. That is it for another daily recap of The Young and the Restless. I will be back on Monday.